District Court, Defendant Lobby number 5. I did no research. You did? That's great. Really appreciate it. Red Cyclops takes a secret a person is consciously trying to hide. The person pulls on questioning, block fakes, and the truth. Yep. That's exactly how I got the truth out of Detective Folder and Director Cosmos. But the Black Cyclops protects a secret from the deepest place in the person's heart. A secret that the person isn't consciously aware of. Basically, what happened in Apollo Justice's attorney, Christoph. The Cyclops were forced open, and he went crazy. And it happened beforehand in the first Phoenix Night. Rise from the Ashes. As soon as Emma was hit with the whole Joe Dark thing, she fainted. As a sign of the Black Cyclops being broken. Turnabout goodbyes had Black Cyclops with Edgeworth. Because it was only at the end when Von Karma screamed that he pieced together that he was a murderer. Okay, so all I have to do is break the Cyclops. According to my research, a Black Cyclops is like a heavy chain wrapped directly around one's heart. When they ripped off by force, it could cause permanent damage to a person's soul. In other words, if I'm not careful, I could traumatize Athena for good. Ugh. Wells, could you stay by Athena's side? She must be suffering under the weight of such a heavy burden. I'm up against Edgeworth. I have to be able to give this trial all my focus and strength. You can't do that for me. No, that's not it. Just meant I can relax and concentrate if I knew you were with Athena. You're the only one who can do it, Pearls. Good, now that my mind's at ease, I better get ready. Like I said when it came to the previous one, I was going to say, now it's probably not family related, but then I remembered and I started idly sitting around with my hand behind my head. Just like my dad does with both of his. December 20th. District number 4. Defense, prosecution and judge. There are even people in the gallery. The roof has been completely blown off and the walls have collapsed. But today, this ruin is my battleground. Court, or some facsimile thereof, is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes. Not a facsimile, old man. This is a proper official trial. Take this most seriously, or you'll start hearing the bones of the hostages snap. Decided to try and give a mixture of order and clunker. Please try not to upset Miss Blackwell. Court is now in session for the very serious and very proper trial of Athena Sykes. This is no trial. It's nothing more than a ridiculous farce. What did you say? Edgeworth? Did you not hear what I just said to His Honor? However, this ridiculous farce has very important meaning for our legal system. Recall the case of the UR1 incident in which a prosecutor was found guilty of murder. That case ushered in the dark age of law. I see what you're after. We can find real truth behind that case today. Precisely. The darkness will be dispelled, and glory shall be restored to the court system. Prosecutor Edgeworth, you sound as if you know something of this truth. I do indeed. A new suspect has emerged in the UR1 case. For 7 years, Simon Blackwell has refused to speak in order to cover for someone else. Brace yourself, Phoenix. Here it comes. I'm sorry, right? But the situation is what it is, and I must do it. The prosecution moves to indict Athena Sykes on the count of murder in the first degree.
Regardless the circumstance, I intend to question the defendant with all I have. For that is a part of my creed.
Then you'd better bring it.
If the two of you are ready. Court is now in session for the trial of Athena Sykes.
Your Honor, the defense was born ready.
The prosecution is
yes,
also
the
ready.
signature. And I thought you'd grown out of it. Soon Von Karma was arrested. This immense tension between us, like we're picking up right where we left off. My duty to clear Prosecutor Blackwell of false accusations and end this insanity. But I have no intention of losing Miss Sykes either. She's a very promising young lawyer. No without doubt that Athena is innocent. But I don't think Prosecutor Blackwell did either. So, do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage? At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. Don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy. The true culprit is a spy. It's going to be hard to convince anyone of that when I barely believe it myself. But I have a choice if I want to save Athena and Blackwell and expose the spy. Now then, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth. No need for a Chief Prosecutor bit, Your Honor. I'm here as a simple prosecutor. Very well, your opening statement, please, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Although been known of late to give an impressive opening as I've ever seen, only the prosecution gives an opening statement. Oh, of course, you're right, I was just joking. Just having a little fun. So he wasn't doing them just out of fear. Interesting. Let's start with a brief overview of the UR1 incident. The incident occurred at the Cosmos Space Center 7 years ago on October 7th. The victim, psychologist Metis Sykes, was killed in the robotics lab on the 4th floor. Athena's mother, Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor at the time, was found guilty of the crime. There were two deciding factors that led to his guilty verdict. 1. Blackwell was the only person in the corridor to the lab at the time of the murder. And 2. His photo, which captured the moment of the crime. Very incriminating evidence indeed. It would appear that the only conclusion is that Prosecutor Blackwell did indeed... Are you kidding me? I'm not accepting any conclusion of the kind. This opening statement is over. Now hurry up and call a witness. Excuse me, Miss Blackwell, but we must follow proper procedure for these things, you know. Or perhaps we should heed her wishes, Your Honor. She is the trial sponsor, after all. Besides, the court from Miss Chile, and sitting for too long can't be good for your back. Oh, you're very kind to show such concern for the welfare of the elderly. As skilled as ever playing the court puppeteer, I see. The prosecution calls its first witness. A witness who decided to bring forth new testimony after 17 years. New testimony. And just who is this new witness anyway? What a surprise. Bobby Fulbright's name, just as we trust. What are you doing here? I'm just here to speak for the hostage taker, Miss Ora Blackwell. She says she's too busy, what with confining and threatening the hostages and all. That doesn't seem to stop her from constantly chiming in with Clonco. I'm nothing more than observing this. Do your best and watching it. Believing her brother innocent, Miss Blackwell has been conducting her own investigation. No, her current actions are hardly lawful. I think we can at least hear her fears. I have here Miss Blackwell's notes on an investigation she conducted. And I'll be giving testimony based on these notes. Here I go. Simon isn't the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. Someone else was at the scene at the time they say Simon committed the murder. I mean, if he really was out to steal that moonlock, then why did Roland case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside, that's why. And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Sykes. And that's Miss Blackwell's theory. Totally goes in the face of the official ruling, huh? I vaguely remember seeing a few cases, all different sizes. At the last trial, they thought that Prosecutor Blackwell used their case to steal the rock. And they had a perfectly good reason to think that too. You see, there's a security camera in the corridor that leads to the robotics lab. And that camera captured footage of Blackwell leaving the scene of the case. I can see why that footage helped to bring his trial to a quick end. Very convincing, that's for sure. 7-year-old video updated in the court record. That case, by the way, was later discovered outside on the Space Center grounds. Speaking of after the incident, where was the defendant Athena Sykes found? She was found on the 5th floor of the Space Center in the Sykes family residence. Prosecutor Blackwell most likely brought her there after the incident. In addition, it's unknown where Miss Sykes was at the estimated time of death. Miss Sykes was too confused by the shock of her mother's death to give proper testimony. There was no witness or evidence to tell us where she might have been. So what you're saying is Miss Sykes didn't have an alibi. That is what the evidence is saying, yes. I understand the reasoning behind the theory, but I'm far from convinced. The victim is the accused mother. Are you actually claiming an 11-year-old girl? Of course, the girl had a very strong motive. Dr. Sykes was a psychologist who wrote many papers about speech and emotions. You're aware of Athena Sykes' special ability, aren't you, Your Honor? Are you referring to that therapy thing? Yes, she's done it quite a few times in court. The ability to read emotions from speech and the subject of her mother's research. Well, as long as it benefits society, I don't see any particular problem researching it. I don't like where this is heading. Not one bit. Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you seriously suggesting... I've done my best to be delicate, but even you can't deny it to be true, Mr. Wright. No longer able to withstand the anguish of the experiments, Miss Sykes felt her only choice was to kill her own mother. Ah! Order! Order in the court! What a tragic story! Hardly want to believe it myself. But we must proceed. Mr. Wright, if you could. Detective Fulbright, please refer to notes. Someone else was at the scene at the time they say Simon committed the murder. Okay, so it's either gonna be...
Objection!
Nope, didn't think so.
Hold it!
Just so in case, I suppose you mean the one that existed in the photo of Prosecutor Blackwell in it, but was absent when the crime scene photos were taken. Yes, that's the one, and Miss Blackwell has drawn a conclusion from these two photos. She has? And what's that conclusion? You're the one with her notes. Oh, right, of course. Reading now. So, why the rolling case?
Hold it!
And how do you propose to hear the person inside one of those cases? Have you forgotten that we saw just such a thing only the other day? At your own daughter's magic show? She fit a grown person into a small box. Oh yeah, read her in the menu of a good day. A magic show? I wish you would have thought to invite me. Actually, I would like to go too. My apologies. I'll invite you both next time. So, wait a minute. What were we talking about again? Prosecutor Blackwell was using the case to hide someone.
Hold it!
But that's nothing more than conjecture, and it's hardly the only possibility. In that case, what do you think Prosecutor Blackwell had that in that case? I think it was the moon rock.
Objection!
There were 3 cases I've seen, but Prosecutor Blackwell used the largest one. The moon rock was egg-shaped and only about 8 inches in diameter. Wouldn't have made any sense to use the largest case. They just used
Objection!
Be that as it may, it doesn't prove Miss Sykes was inside. Then let me ask you this. Can you come up with a better theory of what was in the case? Well, Mr. Wright, can you? Yikes. Give a guy some time to think. Let's see. Should I try to bluff my way through what could have been in that case? I know exactly what Prosecutor Blackwell had carried from the scene. Just had to find something else that was missing, right? This way. Oh, I'd be very interested in hearing your theory. If it's true, that is. This is a crime scene photo taken after Prosecutor Blackwell left, correct? All we have to do is compare this with this photo of Prosecutor Blackwell to see what's missing. He took something with him, then it should be in one of these photos. Lady Luck, don't fail me now.
Take that!
No, top tier dumbass one again. Oh, I'll be very interested. Yeah. Save that here in case I'm not supposed to bluff. Okay. There are 3 cases there. Lady, look, don't fail me now.
Take that!
Nope.
Take that!
Nope. Hey, doctors! I don't have to work now. Of course, sometimes the most obvious isn't always obvious. Please notice that there is a robot part on top of the cart in this photo. However, in the photo taken after the crime, the robot part is gone. In other words, this part is something that was taken from the scene of the crime. You do appear to be right. I didn't see it in the second picture. But it's just a piece of junk. How important could it be? Is it really just an insignificant robot part? Speaking of which... What are you looking at? I'm gonna start charging for each glance per eyeball. Stingy. What happened to age 3 previews? Your Honor, about this robot part. Doesn't it look like it could be an arm from that robot there?
Well, now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it? But the case is still too big to be practical for just a moonrock and a robot arm.
Was it really just one arm that was in there? If it wasn't Athena in the case, then maybe... I believe there was another robot at the scene that looks just like the one here. Your Honor, there's a defense assertion that was this other robot that was in the case.
What?
Objection!
We can't be certain that part belonged to a robot. Yes, it looks like the arm on the one before us, but it could be something else entirely. Besides, it's wrapped entirely in bandaging, making it difficult to verify what it is.
Objection!
I know for a fact that it is a robot arm. I can even tell which robot it belonged to, just by looking at it. With this information, we can investigate whether it was there at the time or not.
But Mr. Wright, I thought you were more of the technologically illiterate type. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned.
Not to worry, Your Honor. I still know next to nothing about machines. But I know this piece of evidence proves which robot the arm belonged to.
Take that!
Nope.
Take that!
Is this complete something? No.
Take that!
The robot in this picture is named Ponko. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that.
She must have thought that machines heal in the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my own grandchild.
The robot arm at the crime scene had the same bandaging wrapped around it. In other words, this robot arm could belong to none other than Ponko.
Order in the court? Order, I say. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you have to say to this?
I concede that the robot is about the same size as a child, but it cannot grab its knees and curl itself up into a ball. Even if it was the largest of cases, the robot couldn't have possibly fit in there.
The case does come to about mid-thigh on Prosecutor Blackquill. I see your point. The robot is much taller than that.
They've gone there. So then, did Prosecutor Blackquill make Ponko fit into the case by dismantling her? Yeah, dismantling her. Of course Ponko would fit. All Prosecutor Blackquill had to do was dismantle her. Once taken apart, the robot could have easily fit inside that rolling case. It appears to be a robot assembly device.
Sounds rather violent, but Mr. Wright does have a point there.
Except that there was a body on the table where robots are dismantled and assembled. There would have been no room to take the robot apart.
Objection!
What if it wasn't done on the table? What if the katana was used instead?
You mean the sword?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Blackquill, I'd like your opinion as a woman of science. Isn't it true that the katana could have been used to take the robot apart? I suppose so. Their joints aren't made of a very tough material. A soft blade could slice through them. Thank you for your expert opinion, Miss Blackquill. Thanks to you, we now know that the existence of the severed arm in this photo proves that Ponko was taken apart. In addition, since the rest of Ponko was not found at the scene, we can conclude that the true meaning of this photo is very different from the original interpretation.
You can't mean?
That's exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder. It is instead a picture of the moment after the robot was sliced apart. The blood you see where the arm was cut off was transferred now by the bloody katana. Most likely, the rest of Ponko is scattered around Prosecutor Blackwell's feet. Not hearing this. Therefore, what was transported inside the case was not the defendant, but the robot. Miss Sykes never was at the scene at the time of the murder. My head, my body, where am I? Ah!
Order in the court.
It's true that Ponko was found in pieces after the murder, and I'll admit I repaired her myself afterwards. Yes, I'm finally making some progress. Hopefully I've gone at least one step closer. Proving both Athena and Prosecutor Blackwell wins.
Objection!
Well played, Mr. Wright. You've made your point abundantly clear. I concede that it wasn't the defendant inside the ruined case, but the robot. Alright, what's going on here? Never good when he plays things this straight.
Does the prosecution withdraw its claim that the defendant was carried from the scene?
No, Your Honor, my claim hasn't changed.
Objection!
But Ponko and Miss Sykes couldn't have both been inside that case.
Objection!
The notion that the case was used to carry Miss Sykes was Miss Blackwell's theory. I have been of a different opinion from the outset. Now I finally have the opportunity to voice my theory. Thanks to the defense. Edgeworth has been one step ahead of me this whole time.
In that case, how do you propose the defendant left the crime scene?
Simple. The footage only shows Prosecutor Blackwell from behind. What's more, he is holding his arm in front of his body, as if he were holding something, or someone. That's hardly evidence. I have proof. The surcoat Prosecutor Blackwell was wearing. The victim's blood was found in front of it, and the stain had a highly distinctive shape.
A blood stain with a distinctive shape? Please continue, Prosecutor Edgeworth.
7 years ago, the defendant was known to constantly wear a certain item, of which there is only one in the world, a special pair of headphones made just for her. Analysis shows the bloodstain to be in the exact same shape as these headphones. In other words, this was no mere blood splatter. The blood went from the victim's body to the headphones and then was imprinted onto Prosecutor Blackwell's coat like a stamp.
A most gruesome stamp indeed.
Blackwell carried Miss Sykes, who had been hit by splatter, away from the crime scene. This proves that Athena Sykes was, without question, present at the crime scene. And that concludes the prosecution's argument.
Order? If the defendant was indeed at the scene, it deepens the suspicion against her.
Objection!
But we've also shown that the robot was there at the scene as well.
Objection!
I hope you're not making a ridiculous claim that a simple robot was the real murderer. Don't really think that, no, but you can't say the possibility isn't there. Detective Fulbright, was the robot questioned at the time?
No, I don't see any record of it. I believe it was considered unrelated to the case.
But as it turned out, the robot was actually integrally related. Your Honor, the defense would like to call Ponko to the stand.
A robot witness? Order. Order in the court. Prosecutor Edgeworth, what do you think about this?
Mr. Wright has called all manner of witnesses to stand over the years, so why not a robot? Nothing surprises me anymore with him.
Very well, I will allow the witness. Bailiff, please summon the robot named Ponko. Yeah, even a fucking hawker. Witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is not Witness, my name is Ponko. Yes, I realize that, but when you are at a witness stand, you are a witness. No, I'm not. I'm Ponko. Say it with me, Ponko. What an utterly inflexible little robot. You're the last person who should be calling anybody inflexible. You remind me of my grandchild who just learned his own name. Oh, how precious. Alright, Ponko. I'm going to ask you some questions. Questions? You have questions? Hooray! What are your questions? I want to know if you were there at the scene of the murder of Metis Sykes. It was 7 years ago, on the 7th of October, around 2 p.m. in the robotics lab. Certainly. Just one moment. Searching data. Search complete. Yes, I was there in the robotics lab. It seems this robot's testimony is necessary to this case after all. This is great. I just knew Ponko must have seen something important. Murder committed right before this poor little girl's eyes? It's inexcusable. The judge seems ready to adopt Ponko as another grandchild. So, little Ponko, do you think you can give us your testimony today? I went to the robotics lab at around 2 p.m. for my regular recharge. Just as I was about to charge up, Athena came in and hugged Mommy Metis. And then Mommy Metis fell down. After that I was recharging, so I don't know anything. So I charged up, I was cleaning the room, and Mr. Simon came in. And then an error occurred. There is no data after that point. Well, it sounds like the defendant was without question at the scene. However, it doesn't appear that the witness saw the actual moment of the murder. I disagree. This testimony shows that the defendant did indeed commit the crime. What? At the end of the day, we mustn't forget that this witness is still a machine. Being a robot, its understanding and capacity to express itself are limited. So what are you suggesting? The witness's statements need to be reinterpreted. For example, the terms hugged and then later fell down. Adults don't usually fall down after being hugged by a child. They don't, but... Yes, what this witness's statements are telling us is... that the defendant stabbed the victim with the murder weapon during this moment. What? Before Miss Sykes hugged Dr. Sykes, did the two of them converse? Yes, they did. They spoke to each other very loudly, but I don't know what they said. Tina is usually so quiet, so I was surprised. Spoke very loudly? We can interpret this to mean they argued. I see, murder after heated argument, and then the victim fell down. I agree that it does sound like a reasonable interpretation. However, Ponko doesn't seem to remember anything that happened after that. When I am recharging, I go into sleep mode, but I remember everything before that. I have a very good memory. You may as well admit defeat now, right? Cross-examination would be useless. Don't be ridiculous. Cross-examination is never useless. Until now, think about it. Robots don't lie. This robot is both an important witness and valuable evidence at the same time. Nevertheless, I will have my cross-examination. I see you haven't changed. You never were one to worry about wasting time. Very well, even if it may be a waste of time, you may proceed, Mr. Wright. I'll show you both just how fruitful any cross-examination can be. Save. Some UFOs? Because she mentions that she was recharging, but she's not on the station.
Objection!
Nope.
Hold it!
I don't want to delve too deeply here, but could you tell us how the victim appeared and acted at this moment? Mommy Metis was very surprised when she was hugged. I heard her heart pound. Her heart? Mr. Wright, have you forgotten about this document we found in the robotics lab? These robots have a heartbeat detection system. Now that he mentions it, I do remember reading something like that now. They detect the presence of people by the sound of their heartbeats. Wait a minute. That means the Sykes really did die this moment. Ponko, how was Dr. Sykes after she fell down? Could you still hear the sound of her heartbeat? Let's see. The moment she fell, her heart was pounding. After that, I don't know. I started recharging just then. All in lucky timing. If you'd heard anything after, it could have possibly proved that the hug wasn't actually the moment of the murder. I'm very sorry. I'm afraid I don't know. I'm very sorry. The robot is designed to go into sleep mode automatically, so it can't be helped. But it does appear to detect an increased heart rate at the moment of the stabbing. After Mommy Metis' heart started pounding in surprise, she fell by the window. It was a round window on the workbench side of the room. The fuck? The workbench, huh? Ponko must be talking about that table to right where that giant robot is now. There's something critical in Ponko's statement just now. There is something. Your Honor, I believe this statement is critical. I'd like it added to her testimony. Very well. Ponko, could you please add that statement to your testimony? That's a good little girl. Mommy Metis fell down near the round window on the workbench side of the room. Save.
Objection!
Yep, thought it was. Ponko, your statement may have just inspired breakthrough. I was helpful. Hooray! I'm so happy. Just to be sure, let's go over it again, okay? The victim fell near the window on the workbench side of the room. However, her body was discovered on the operating table. But the operating table and the workbench are two different locations. Well, that wasn't quite the angle I was going for, but worked regardless. Exactly, Your Honor. We've just learned a new crucial fact. It could explain two very different locations of the body. I'll tell you what. The 9-year-old girl couldn't have moved the heavy body of an adult, so the only explanation is that the victim walked to the operating table herself. In other words, what Ponko observed near the workbench couldn't possibly have been the moment of the murder. Phew, I'm very relieved to hear that. Glad to know that the murder wasn't committed in front of little Ponko here. Yes, as we just heard in the testimony, Miss Sykes hugged her mother.
Objection!
Right. It's been 8 years, but you're still just as green as ever. Green? But I can't recall ever seeing Mr. Wright in anything but a blue suit. Hey, blue's my favorite color. What can I say? And this is my favorite color. Why do you think I've been wearing the same sort of jacket for 8 years? If the defendant could have moved the body herself, she could have had it moved for her. Moved for her? But Miss Sykes and Dr. Sykes were the only ones there. I agree, since this robot is equipped with a heartbeat detection system. It would have been aware of another person's presence if someone else had been there. We can therefore conclude that the defendant and the victim were the only ones present. Then who do you suggest moved the body? Don't you know it's in the nature of a robot to help people do things? Miss Panko, allow me to ask you a question. My name is Ponko. Say it with me. Ponko. I believe you said you were cleaning after Dr. Sykes fell down. Did you happen to move something large onto the operating table? Yes, I did. Athena asked me to. Athena asked you to? And what did you move, little Ponko? I don't know. Unless something has an ID tag, I can't tell what it is. An ID tag, you say? So the jacket had fallen off at that point. Yeah, that makes sense. That adds up. Yes, the tag with a barcode on it. We robots scanned them to tell us what a thing is. The paper in the lab did mention something about that. Recognizes people by scanning their spacesuit or uniform jacket ID tag, it said. So it would appear that Miss Panko here can't identify what it moved. My name is Panko. But we humans have the power to imagine what it was, do we not? We do? Well, I do at the very least. Miss Panko, on the defendant's command, moved the body onto the operating table. Ponko, did you really move Dr. Sykes' body? It's really important. Isn't there any way you could tell? I don't know. Without an ID tag, I can't tell. Give it up, right? The victim's heart was stopped. The robot's detection system would be useless. Furthermore, Dr. Sykes usually wore her white coat while she was working. She kept the jacket with her ID tag on it draped over a chair in the robotics lab, and only wore it for special occasions. In other words, the victim wasn't wearing her ID tag at the time. From the robot's point of view, her body was simply just another
Objection!
But Honko is equipped with a facial recognition system. If she really did move the victim, she would have recognized the body as Dr. Sykes, but she didn't, so that means...
Objection!
Her face can easily be covered with a piece of cloth, a mask, or anything else for that matter. With her facial features hidden, the robot wouldn't be able to tell it was Dr. Sykes. Right. To summarize, Miss Sykes stabbed her mother near the workbench, then using the robot, she moved the body to the table where she removed the sword and was staining blood. Order? But if that's the case, then I have a question. Why did the defendant move the body to the operating table in the first place? You want a reason? Very well. What? You can't possibly have an explanation. Your emotions blind you to the truth. You could learn a lot from our robot friends. Calm and rational thought will open your eyes to the truth in front of you, Miss Wright. Now then, you remember the operating table's one special feature? I believe I've read that robots can be assembled and disassembled there, isn't that right? That's right, and the defendant was just a child. The table is like a magic box that can make robots appear or disappear. In the end, my mother just put her on the operating table and fixed it. So impressed by what my mum did. I even asked her if she would on the table. You can't possibly be suggesting. This young, sheltered girl had a difficult time distinguishing robots from people. But take a look at Ponko's arm. Oh wait, no, it's Phoenix. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Sykes who bandaged it up like that. No way. I refuse to believe it. Miss Sykes made a childish, naive, and cruel mistake. She thought that if a robot could be dismantled and vanish without a trace. I demand that you word it as delicately as you can. With all due respect, Your Honor, all I can do is present the truth as it stands. The reason the defendant moved the victim's body to the operating table.
Hold it!
No! Don't say another word. Stop! was to dismantle the evidence so that she could get away with her crime. That can't be. Order! Order in the court! Order in the court, I say! Edgeworth, she was just a little kid. How can you say such a horrible thing? Horrible? Like I said, you're just as green as ever. I came here today as a prosecutor to seek only the truth, no more, no less. My theory is simply the result of a rational consideration of every possibility.
Objection!
But dismantling isn't the table's only function. It can make repairs as well. Conceivable that Miss Sykes moved her mother to the table in order to fix her. Suppose that could be another way of interpreting it. But dismantle or repair, it doesn't matter either way. What do you mean? After murdering her mother, Miss Sykes may have came to her senses. Perhaps she did want to make it appear as if it had never happened, and that's why she tried to repair her mother. Yes, that's one possible explanation. But we mustn't forget the facts of this case. The victim was observed to fall down after being hugged by the defendant, and the body was moved per the defendant's command. These two facts that indicate the defendant's guilt, remain unchanged. This just can't be true. Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence to refute the prosecution's claim? Evidence. Let's see. Can't think of any. I'm afraid I don't have any evidence. Since becoming chief prosecutor, I've learned that the truth isn't always pretty. Now accept the truth, Mr. Wright. Your subordinate murdered her own mother. Your Honor, the prosecution demands a verdict. The hostages have suffered enough. What a terrible and tragic conclusion. The defense has no counter-argument. I see no need to further prolong this trial. Edgeworth's argument seems solid enough, but there's no way Athena could have ever done anything like that. What do I do? There has to be something. I can't think of a single thing. Ah, Blackwell. Prosecutor Blackwell. This is quite the farce you're conducting here. I could die from laughter. Prosecutor Blackwell, what are you talking about? What I'm talking about is that your argument is based on an entirely false premise. Go on, we'll listen. Could this be the miracle I need? What is Prosecutor Blackwell trying to pull here? 7 years, for 7 long years. This case has been on my mind. Not for an instant did I not think of it. The one who killed my mentor, I don't think you can alter that. Your boldness, I will take this stand. And I won't take no for an answer. Of course, Prosecutor Blackwell. Please go ahead. I went to the Cosmos Space Center with the intention of killing Dr. Sykes. When I got to the robotics lab, I found Athena there instead. I would not be swayed from my purpose, so I waited for Dr. Sykes' return. And then I committed the act. Ah, how cathartic it was. But little Ponko here witnessed the victim falling. In other words...
Objection!
I don't need any of your other words, old man. I can guess what happened. Which would be... She fell, means she fell, merely out. Mother and child fooling around. Perhaps she tripped. Not that it matters. When I entered the lab, there was no trace of Dr. Sykes to be seen. There was no dead body either, of course. Meaning she must have left him. So the murder occurred after the time period Ponko described in her testimony? You should hardly take stock in the words of a wind-up story.
Objection!
Then how do you explain the fact that the defendant had the robot move something? Athena was always tinkering with robots on the operating table to amuse herself. Whereas that Ponko moved the heavy ones for her. That day was no different. Ponko moved the heavy robot for Athena. This is awful. What you're saying seems to make sense, and yet...
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, are you trying even now to turn away from the truth? Don't you realize we could bring the dark age of law to a close?
Objection!
You expect too much from me. I'm just a murderer beyond redemption. Why don't you just let me go so I can settle down into hell? Prosecutor Blackwell's execution is tomorrow. The truth doesn't come out now. It's all over. Are you saying that little girl and the robot had nothing to do with the murder? That's right, so let's hear your verdict. But don't hurry, I might have missed a ferry across the Styx. Don't you dare, Judge. Don't forget I have hostages over here. And Simon, how long are you going to cover for? Miss Blackwell. Forgive me, Aura. I never wanted you to do anything like this. But you agreed to this trial. If you have a counter-argument, then present your evidence. And that's the rule of the courtroom. Isn't that right, Chief Prosecutor? Blackwell, you selfish... Well, to be frank, I don't like this, but it's my duty to make a decision. If no one has a counter-argument, I will announce my verdict. Is this really happening? Is it really going to end just like it did 7 years ago? No, I can't tell her. How can I lie to Athena? I can't prove Prosecutor Blackwell's innocence in this trial. I don't think Athena will ever forgive me. Can't let this happen. I just don't have the evidence to counter Prosecutor Blackwell's testimony. Athena, are you feeling okay? I can hear it. I can hear in the voice of his heart. His highness. If he really is, I could sure use Athena's help here. Her power might be just a thing to get us moving.
Objection!
Sykes, Dono. No need for you to chime in here. Just accept that you're innocent. These past 7 years, they've been just as hard on me. What are you talking about? Do you remember that horrible, horrible trial? He didn't kill her, huh? Yeah. I can't keep my voice that high. Sounds like me when I was younger. Yeah, you found a way to keep your fears at bay, McLeod. That's why, despite being nervous in conversation, I'm still a streamer. Yeah, as painful as it is for me, I've always had social anxiety. Probably part of autism. That's what leads me to suspect that the same thing's happening here. You're the accused, after all. If you prove Prosecutor Blackwell innocent, then... Athena's being so brave, confronting her past like this. This might really be the last chance to save them both. Prosecutor Blackwell, please testify one more time about the incident 7 years ago.
Fine, but your efforts will surely be in vain. For I am not a man who can be cut down easily. Okay, so... Huh. Yeah, the tear marks are from... The silhouette's basically the fucking tear marks, and the white hair is from Marie Antoinette's. Happy! Okay, so it's either going to be happiness or...
Got it!
When we view your emotions alongside your testimony, we find... Nope. I want to see if you get pillars yet. Oh no, it must be the last second.
Got it!
This feeling of happiness. Even though the person you were looking for wasn't there, you felt happy. Why is that? Simple. When I was looking for Athena and hadn't found her yet, I grew worried, so I saw her in the robotics lab. I was happily relieved, merely that. His hair was short there too. So what, does the Clink not have a barber? Just now you said that you went to the Space Center to kill Dr. Sykes. But the first thing you did was look for her daughter instead. I had no intention of harming Athena, so I wanted to confirm that she was safe first. It was just part of my plan, nothing contradictory about that. The second I find an inconsistency, he cuts it down. Simon knows the principles of analytical psychology. There's less noise now, but I don't see any instabilities. I was afraid of that. I just have to keep chipping away at him then, bit by bit. Could you update his testimony, Athena? And what does he feel sad here?
Got it!
Now even you can falsify your emotions, Prosecutor Blackwell. What? When you said that you killed Dr. Sykes in your testimony, you felt sadness. Why would someone who had lain in wait to kill her be sad at her death? Such an obvious attack. Yes, I felt sadness, but it wasn't for her. I felt sorry for Athena and her circumstances. He can't be talking about that, can he? Dr. Sykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. My objective was to save Athena. I'm an obsessive scientist who treated her daughter like a research subject. What? I went to a psychology lab first. That's where I would usually find Athena playing. God, I sounded like Trevor in the fucking prologue of 5 now. Subjected to yet another experiment, I thought as I went to see. Conveniently, Athena had cried herself to sleep, so all I had to do was wait and kill. So that's why he was relieved when he saw Athena. Is this story really true? I'm not sure how much to believe. How are you doing, Athena? Still hanging in there? The fuck? It went up. I've seen it do that before. Prosecutor Blackwell is lying in his testimony. As a matter of fact, he's probably lying on top of lying in an attempt to make his claims more believable. Even harder. How in the world should I approach this? An evidence-based approach might work if I can find a contradiction. Otherwise, I should look for an inconsistency in his emotions. There are no flaws in my testimony, and his boldness is prepared to give his verdict. Give up on this lost cause and let the law free you.
Objection!
I don't think so. Not while I'm around. Now, contradictory testimony or inconsistent emotions. Which should I tackle first? Emotions? Okay, let's look for inconsistent emotions. Save. No save.